guys, it's M4J here and welcome back to the M4J Network here on OpenTTD. Today is the big rebuild of Befingway. Better Befingway, I believe this episode is called. I'll check that as I am talking. So we're rebuilding Befingway today. We're making it a lot better and a lot nicer. And yes, Better Befingway is the title of the video. So like with the rebuild of Mumfingford, this is based on the design submitted by George Silva on my Reddit community. But I've put my own sort of twist on some aspects of it just to make it a little bit more functional, a little bit more practical. What's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more efficient, I think is the right word. Because overall the base design that was submitted was very, very good. I really like the staggered platform design. If I recall correctly, it's based on Doncaster, which I've been to once, so I can kind of vouch for how that looks. But yeah, I really liked the design, which is why it was chosen. But there were a couple of things that I felt could have been slightly different, so I've changed those a little bit. Mainly, I've added things that weren't on the original design. So I've built a bus station on the south side of the station. I've put a station building there as well. I've added an extra platform to the north and to the south, just to make arriving and departing services a little bit easier. And one of the big things that I've included that wasn't on the original design was dive unders at both the west and east end of the station. So trains that terminate in the northern platforms that are then heading west can depart without having to cross over all the main lines, and trains that terminate in the North Valleys line platforms on the south side of the station don't have to cross over all of the lines to get onto the Grand Northern line. So they're the only real tweaks that I've made. Besides that, it's pretty much the exact same design that you can see. When I placed the platforms down, I didn't place stairs in the right place according to the design or anything like that. I basically just eyeballed it and went with a pretty unique design. But yeah, Befingway is now technically ready to accept trains, because normally I don't do signalling on camera, but I wanted to get it done now, mainly because I keep messing up signalling for some reason. So on the stream last week, we made the Great Northern Line between Gunway Bridge, and Don'tborough. We made it 6 tracks instead of 4, and I did some re-signalling, edited some vehicle orders, and made a complete hash of it because trains keep getting lost. So I don't know quite what's gone on there. I'm kind of still in the process of fixing it as I'm recording this. We will get it fixed though. It's not that big of an issue. But I wanted to get the signalling done for Befingway on camera, mainly so that A, it's done, don't have to do it again, and also B, even though it's a time lapse, someone might spot a mistake and point it out to me before it's too late. So no pressure on that, by the way, if you can't see it, because we're in like ×5 speed at the moment, so I completely understand if someone might miss something. I missed it in real time, so how am I expecting anyone to see it in fast forward? I don't know. But yeah, I always say this when I do these time lapses, and it always goes along the lines of I'm really happy with the result. But genuinely, I am really happy with the result. I think Befingway was one of those stations where it kind of worked, but it looked awful. And even then, it only really worked some of the time, not all of the time. When it got busy, it got very congested and trains would end up queuing, and I really wanted to avoid that. So this rebuild has been a really good opportunity to sort of start again. And it's one of the reasons why I like to see you guys submit designs sort of on my behalf, because I can look at those designs and see the kind of way that you would design the station and then go from there. Because a lot of the time I'm struggling to come up with a good idea, so I kind of open it up to the floor and say, hey, what do you guys think? And so far it's been very beneficial, because I get to see other people's way of thinking, and then from that I can kind of cherry pick the best bits, say, oh, that's a really good idea and that's a really good idea, we'll put those two things together and we'll come up with an excellent idea. So that's why I do it. For those of you that wonder, that's why I do it. It's partial laziness, it's also partially the fact that I can't devote every minute of every day to this at the moment because I'm busy working on XVI stuff. There'll be an exciting announcement coming up about that in the not too distant future. And also something else, probably shouldn't be announcing this originally on a 0.5 episode, but I'll announce it now anyway. A lot of people have been talking about the map size lately and how impressive it looks and things like that, which I'm very flattered by. It's always nice to get a little bit of recognition like that. But you're probably wondering, where can I get my hands on a copy of this map? And the answer is the new M4J website, which is pretty much finished. I actually started working on it on Thursday. I'm recording this voiceover here on the Monday. And I thought it was going to take me a long time to do, which is why I wasn't saying anything about it. Every now and then I'd say, I'm going to work on it, I'll start working on it. And this week I finally kind of had the courage to look at the XVI website and say, what parts of this would I carry over to my own website? And a lot of it is like CSS coding, which isn't particularly fun or pleasant, because a lot of the time, particularly on Squarespace, which is what I've used for both websites, you have to kind of go into the Chrome inspection window to try and find which particular font or which particular bit of text you want to change into your custom font, and it can be a bit of a nightmare. But fortunately, because I've already worked on one website, I had a lot of code that I could copy and paste over. Plus the XVI and M4J websites are quite similar in that they use the same template, but the page layouts are different, the style's different, the tone's different, everything like that is different. But using one to help create the other was always part of the plan. So the M4J website is pretty much ready to go. I'm going to sit on it for another few days at least, just to check that everything is there. But on the downloads page for OpenTTD, there's the original McJeffries Network map, which had Guardtown. I think Guardtown, St. George, and St. Peter and St. John were the three main stations. Then we've got the second map, which was the original origin of Guard City. And I think that had things like Centre Rail and the high-speed rail links, and Metro and Cross City and all the other things that I can't remember the name of right now. Then a copy of the map that this was built for. I think it was at the end of the McJeffries network and at the start of the M4J network. I think that was the time period. So most of the main lines are in situ. Befingway, Nut Hill, Muntingford are all in a state, but you can kind of rebuild those according to what you've seen in the last few weeks, if you so wish. But the big one is, depending on what episode we get up to by the time the website goes live, there will be a version of the map that is up to date as of that episode. So for example, if I launch the website tomorrow, there'll be a copy of the map that shows Befingway as it's being built on screen right now. And that's the big one, I feel, because I feel like you guys would like to get your hands on a copy of this map and be able to work on it yourselves whilst you watch me play. And that's absolutely fine. I'm okay with that. Just don't steal it and pretend it's yours, because that's really not a very nice thing to do. I don't think anyone will do that, by the way, but I have seen it a lot on YouTube lately. So I just want to put a little disclaimer out there now. Please don't do that. Don't be that person. But yeah, this is it's encouraging news and exciting news that I've finally got my backside into gear and actually started working on stuff again. And there'll be downloads for other games as well, as and when they become accessible. Plus the interaction page is still there, so you can suggest name ideas and check out the episode plans and things like that. And it's an all-in-one place, so you'll be able to keep up to date with everything to do with M4J all on that website. But I will still be using my Reddit for ideas for this particular series. So that Reddit post, ideas for the M4J network, I believe it's called, that would be the place to go still to suggest ideas for this particular series. And yes, on my website there is a link to my Patreon directly on the homepage, so if you are interested in that kind of thing, do feel free to check that out. I'll announce more in time where the website will be and when it will go live, so that you guys can go on and check it out. As always, as well with that, feedback is always welcome. Try to be nice, but constructive criticism is always, of course, the best way to go. And yeah, there's a couple of cool features on there that I think you guys would be interested in as well. So yeah, going back to Befingway, we've got, on the west side, we've got 5 lines on the Grand Northern Line, one of which is the departure line from the northern platforms, and then the other 4 are the conventional main lines. On the south side of the station, on the southwest side of the station, we've got the 2 North Valleys lines. On the east side of the station, we've got the same thing as we've got on the west side, pretty much. So we've got 5 lines on the Grand Northern, including the departure line, and we've also got 2 new lines that come out level with the North Valleys line. My rationale for this is a little bit further east of Befingway. There's a junction, a triangular junction, where if you head south from there, you go down to Nut Hill City Centre. This set of lines that I'm building here is also going to connect to that line, but a little bit further south from that triangular junction. So it's kind of a shortcut route between Befingway and Nut Hill, and it will be used quite intensely by North Rail services, maybe even by cross-country services as well, if I can figure out a way to get them to use the crossovers at Befingway. So that's something that, again, is different to the design that was submitted, but hopefully it's a welcome addition. I think it's a good idea myself, but then I would say that because I built it. So I'll be interested in hearing what you guys think. And here's me building some little roads here around Befingway. The bus station has been built, so has the little station building. I was considering the idea of putting a station building in the town of Befingway itself. I might still do that. Where the bus station is kind of like a secondary entry exit rather than the main one. And then yeah, this little bit here. So over here at Sindwood Industrial Park, yeah, Sindwood Industrial Park, we had this like little depot siding site which I wasn't really using anymore. And when I was building the Grand Northern Line last week, I kind of realised that some of the hills would be a little bit too difficult to get freight trains up, whereas the North Valleys line east of Honningville is relatively flat. So this little thing that I'm building here is a way of diverting freight trains from the Great Northern Line onto the North Valleys line to then run through, run along the North Valleys line onto the Grand Northern Line at Befingway. It does involve going via Warnbridge Airport, although I am considering building a freight diversionary route that just runs directly from the North Valleys line west of Warnbridge to the North Valleys line east of Warnbridge without having to climb up the hill to Warnbridge. So we have sort of carved a hole through the centre of the town there in order to build this viaduct, but you'll also see me at the end of this episode rebuild a lot of roads in and around this area. So hopefully that town, it's not Plenborough, is it? That's down in the south. I can get it up on my screen right now. Proffingford. So hopefully the town of Proffingford will regrow along these roads that I've built. I did do a fun new buildings, and I can see just from looking at my screen here, it is starting to take effect. So Punfingford and Proffingford are pretty much going to blend into each other now. In fact, they already are with the roads that I've built. So that's good, which means that that can grow back and look really nice. I was kind of looking at a lot of these towns where they're cut off by the rail, so you can almost see where you've bulldozed a line through, built the tracks, and then because level crossings have been turned off, the town hasn't been able to regrow properly. So I'm going to look at a lot of that off camera as well and try and make it so that these towns can actually grow around the railway, because that's what happens in real life. Towns tend to grow around the railway rather than just be blocked by it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series, head over to Reddit and drop some ideas down below for ideas can't get my words out. Head over to my Reddit community and drop some comments down below that post with ideas for future episodes, and you can also comment down below here with feedback on what you've seen on the screen as well. Besides that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. I will update you guys on the website when it's good and ready, but until then, thanks very much once again for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.